So what is that experience? When I say puzzle game experience, I'm talking about games like Braid, Portal, Antichamber Limbo, and also more recent small student projects like Perspective by Pohang over there that he worked on. Really awesome. And these all have the common characteristics that they have like a consistent system, and you basically are presented with puzzles that exhibit some particularly interesting aspect of that system, and then you solve the puzzle and then you learn that interesting aspect. And that's what I think is pretty cool about these puzzle games. Okay. So what do I mean by a memorable puzzle? To me, what this means is that initially when you look at the puzzle, you just have like no fucking clue what's going on. You know, you see all the pieces, you know what the pieces do individually, but you just have no idea how you're possibly going to fit them together to attain the final goal. So you get stuck, and then you get pissed off, and you tell your friends like, this game sucks, it has a terrible learning curve, and then you sleep on it, and then maybe a day or two later, you come home, and you say, okay, I'll fire this game up again. You try one thing that you just never tried before, and suddenly it clicks, and you're just like, holy crap, that was mind-blowing. I had an animated GIF here of him going things, and it doesn't translate to PowerPoint apparently. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to propose that you can better create those kind of experiences by exploiting two human flaws. And this is just stuff I learned personally while designing my own puzzle games, so hopefully you'll agree that they are applicable. But again, if not, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's talk about the two human flaws. First of all, greediness. I'm not talking about greed in the economic or money sense, where you just want money. I'm talking about greediness more in the computer science algorithmic sense. If you're familiar with pathfinding algorithms, you know that a greedy heuristic is basically something that just kind of looks at the most obvious cost towards something, right? If I gave you a maze and told you you start here and your goal is here, well, the most obvious thing to do is to go this way. And it's not always the right way, but a lot of the times it is, and it's definitely the most obvious thing to try first, right? And so I think this idea can be applied to players playing a puzzle game. Like, for example, this puzzle in Braid, where you start over here at this door, and then your puzzle piece goal is over there at the top right corner. Well, the most obvious thing to do is just go up these ladders like you would do in any platformer Donkey Kong type of game. And then you would assume, well, I'm probably going to get that puzzle piece, right? But of course, in this particular puzzle, when you get to this ladder, something goes wrong, and you're like, I have no freaking clue what to do here. Like, this should work, but it doesn't, right? And then, you backtrack and you realize where your human thought process failed you, and then you become a better person as a result of that. So I would call that a success. And so basically what this means is that the obvious easy route should always be the wrong route. Again, always, not a general value judgment. And this is sort of counterintuitive, I think, to good user experience design, right? Like, if you're a UX person, you want everything to be as natural and intuitive as possible. So I think that's also an important part of game design, but sometimes that can sort of bleed over into this and end up making your puzzle way too obvious. And so you have to position your objects carefully. I found in designing my own puzzles that simply moving a single object like 3 grid squares over made it a lot harder for a lot more people, just because of these simple greedy algorithms that players tend to run in their head. So it's really good to be aware of that at every step of the process, even when you're refining your puzzles and getting rid of unintended solutions and stuff like that. Okay, and here's another quick example of greed being exploited. In this Braid puzzle, you start over here, and the usually thing to do is that you're going to walk right, and you're going to be lazy, so you're just going to hit these enemies, but of course you just rewind, right? No problem. Well, it turns out for this puzzle that is a problem, and because you took that initial greedy path, and then you were sort of shown that it is the wrong path, that just makes it all the more clear to you what the interesting thing about this puzzle is. Okay, so the second thing is called functional fixedness. This is an idea, a pretty old idea from psychology, and it was proposed by Dunker in 1945, and he gave a bunch of psychology subjects this following problem. He said, given a book of matches, a box of thumbtacks, and a candle, affix the candle to the wall such that when the candle is burning, the wax does not fall on the floor. So take a little bit of time and think about how you would do that. Maybe 10, 15 seconds. Don't shout out the answer if you know this already. Okay, so now I'm going to reveal the solution. The solution is to put the candle in the box and just thumbtack the box to the wall. How many people got that solution? about a third of you. So what are some things that other people are thinking about?
Put the candle on the wall at an angle so it drip down toward the wall.
Right. So this is a classic example of functional fixedness because most people, when they see the box holding the thumbtacks, they just assume that, okay, this box is not part of the puzzle. It's just there to hold the thumbtacks. And what Dunker discovered is that when he presented the exact same problem with the exact same wording, but he just put the thumbtacks out of the box, then much more people got the correct solution. Right? So you can imagine all sorts of ways that this might apply to puzzle design. And I just found one example from Antichamber, which is this example. And if you played Antichamber, you know what's going on here. And to me, it was mind-blowing. To some other people, it might not have been mind-blowing. But I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I thought it was pretty awesome and a great example of functional fixedness. Okay, so in conclusion, I think designing memorable puzzles is a pretty delicate art. You've got to be careful of how players are thinking and make sure that you don't make it too difficult, but also not too easy. And you always want to be thinking about what would the greedy, fixated player do in your puzzle, and design with that in mind at all times. And of course, different players will have different opinions and experiences of your design. Like some people don't like those braid puzzles that I presented. I personally think they're pretty awesome. But and yeah, that's it. That's all.
All right. Ian, you want to go next?